Welcome to weeks 7 and 8 in Sport Facility and Event Management. Last week we talked about things like electrical and mechanical systems, ancillary areas, sustainability, and signage. And these are all parts of the facility that we don't see on a normal basis. They're kind of the things that make the facility run smoothly, and as long as nothing goes wrong, we don't notice them. But they have a big impact on things like participant experience, user comfort, safety, as well as the maintenance and lifespan of the facility. You don't want your floor buckling because your humidity is a few percentage points off, and that's one of the things that I asked you to look at in the reading notes. So these types of systems have very technical terms and language that contain a specific jargon. So what I wanted to do with the reading notes the last 2 weeks was get you used to seeing some of that jargon and what some of those words meant. So what does HVAC stand for? What are foot candles? What is lead? So those are pretty common terms in sport facilities, and I don't want you to go to your job and hear those terms for the first time and then look confused. So I'd rather get them out of the way here so that you've heard them, you're familiar with them, you're not scratching your head when your boss asks you to check on the guidelines for the foot candles because we're going to be on TV for an NCAA broadcast, for one of our sports next week. So I wanted us to get some of those terms familiarized, if that's a word, in the past unit. So that's kind of what we did. And I also in the reading notes, the last reading notes 3, I just explained, kind of what I was looking for in the part 1. Just making sure you had looked up some of those terms and were familiar with some of those concepts like foot candles and lead and what those things mean. And then I spent the second half of the reading notes assignment looking at some of the specific jargon with locker rooms. And I wanted to set locker rooms apart because locker rooms are a part of every and any sport facility. So they're in pools, basketball courts, baseball facilities. Locker rooms are in every sport facility. So, and there is some very technical language that's kind of on its own there. Things dealing with things like shower styles, terms for the various types of partitions in showers, names for various types of dressing areas. So I just kind of wanted to take a closer look at those terms and get used to using that specific terminology in locker rooms. It just sounds much more professional to use kind of the universal and correct terminology when you're talking about locker rooms. So this unit we're looking at indoor facilities, and that includes things like pools, court floors, and fitness centers. So we have all 3 of those things here on the Euler campus, and I think most of you are auditing court floors, and I don't know if anybody's auditing the pool or the fitness center in the DSC, but maybe 1 or 2. So we have them all. You can look at any of them. And I've been talking a lot about ADA requirements quite a bit in your facility standard checklist and audit assignment. It's important because it's an important set of federal regulations that sport facilities have to adhere to. So it's the law. So that's one reason why I want us to be very familiar with it. And in this section, we're going to look at a different set of regulations that are on the state level, and that has to do with the Arkansas Department of Health. So the health department governs the pool here at Euler and pools anywhere in the state. Pools are governed by state health departments. So the Arkansas Department of Health comes over and conducts regular inspections on the pool that is in the DSC, and they issue our permit. So if they come over for an inspection, and they're unannounced, they're surprise visits, they come over for inspections and they check things like proper chemistry levels, proper documentation and logs of all of the daily chemical checks. And if any of that stuff is amiss, they will revoke our permit and shut down the pool until we get it fixed. So I want to look at a few of those this week. I think it's just good to know some of the various deal breakers, to use a trite phrase that go on with pools. So if you're an athletic director somewhere, you need to know the very important deal breakers that can happen with a pool. For example, one of the regulations that the health department will check is if the main drain of the pool is visible from the deck. If the pool inspector is standing on the deck and he can't see the main drain, even if your pool is 16 feet deep, if you can't see the main drain at the bottom of the pool, that pool will be shut down. And that's for safety. You can imagine if you can't see the drain at the bottom of the pool, how are you going to see, maybe a swimmer or a body that's down there and that's having difficulty? So it makes sense. So, just like I want us to kind of get familiar with ADA regulations backwards and forwards, I want us to get familiar with Arkansas Department of Health regulations for pools backwards and forwards. And that's so that when you're an AD somewhere, you're familiar kind of with what is necessary and what the law is going to require of you for your pool. So let's talk about the assignments that we're doing. We are right in the middle of our two big assignments. And I had warned you that they're a little complicated. There's a lot of intermediate due dates, and I am reminding you of those as they come. Our facility audit, we're getting close to being done. You should have wrapped up your facility visits, taken your checklist and your tape measure, gone through, checked met or unmet, taken pictures, explained to me what you saw, if something was unmet, why it didn't meet that standard. And believe me, you're not going to go into a facility where every single standard is met. So if you check met for everything, then something is going to be wrong, and I will know anyway because I'm familiar with the facilities here. So, it needs to be thorough, and it is also part of your part 4 final report. So you're going to turn in part 3. That's your facility audit write-up. That's you going in with your checklist, check met or unmet pictures, and then what is wrong, what you recommend to fix it. And then you're going to put together a comprehensive report that contains all of the pieces, your checklist, your references, an executive summary, and that should be a deliverable to the facility manager. So Mr. Evans or Mr. Morales, I should be able to deliver those reports to them as actual documentation of how their facilities are either meeting or not meeting various standards and guidelines. So that is what's going on with the facility audit. And please ask me a question at any time so that I can clarify. That's what my job is. The event administration assignment, we are starting to crack into that one. So you were asked to either pick your own event that you can have an administrative role in, or you can jump onto an event that we are working with the wellness coordinator to put together here on campus. We're calling it the Trojan Warrior Dash. So I've had some people RSVP for that on-campus option, which is option number 2, if you're looking at your assignment. And that deadline to RSVP has passed. So I have already set up meetings for that option number 2. If you're part of that on-campus group, then we are already starting to meet with the wellness staff and get that event coordinated. If you're doing your own event, that's fine. You still have to turn in the event progress forms. So everybody's got a deadline for those. The first one is due the week of March 16th. So if you are doing the on-campus event with me, we're going to have our first meetings this week where we're going to kind of get an idea of what we're doing, get some action plans going on, and then you're going to work on those things and then report your progress to me through your task progress form. And those are due, the first round of task progress forms is due on March the 16th. So those are attached in your event administration assignment, so you can find a blank form there. That's what you're going to turn into me on March 16th. And of course, I'll remind you again. So I hope you're having a good semester. And I also don't want you to forget about the event observation assignment. There are a lot of good events happening in Little Rock this spring. There was just a big bike race this weekend. It was on Sunday. I know that it rained a lot, but it turned out to be a really nice day last Sunday. So I was helping to officiate actually at the Crosswinds bike race. So that was pretty cool. And I will be working at the Little Rock Marathon this coming Sunday on March the 4th. I am a pace group leader. So that's kind of an interesting way to work an event. It's a very inside view of what that event looks like. So, look at the calendar. There's tons of events going on, especially the nicer the weather gets, but I just don't want you to get stuck or in a hurry, if you put it off too long. So it takes a little bit of planning on your part. So thanks again for meeting this class with me. And again, ask me any questions as we kind of muddle through both the facility audit and the event administration assignments. Have a good week. I'll talk to you soon.